Welcome to the JP8 report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 report, episode 279. FBI foils New Year's Eve terror plot in LA. Welcome everybody. I'm back to being old school today. My Stream Deck does not want to work. I got to figure that one out after I get off the line. Oh my goodness. I got to remember how to use the mouse. That's how it is. Man, well, I appreciate everybody showing up today. This is James Pierce. If you've never watched the JP8 report, please click that follow button and then click that thumbs up like button and please share. Now, and you might be, if you're one of my followers that usually watches me when I go live, you might be wondering, why am I live at 10 a.m. instead of noon? Well, besides it being a very, very busy news day, which I didn't invent, two things. I wanted to see what 10 o'clock does when I go live stream. I've been wanting to try that. And then two, my daughter is graduating with her master's degree today, and that's at noon, and I don't want to miss that. And I already got the YouTube link that she gave me because she's in Los Angeles going through graduation ceremonies, and I'm here in Central Texas. So after the live stream, I told my wife I'm going to have everything up on the TV, ready to go when she gets home because she's off to the doctor's office. So we're going to have everything all squared away. And if you would like to tell Rachel Pierce, congratulations on crossing the graduation stage, and it's at 12 noon Central, 10 a.m. Pacific, in the comment section, please tell Rachel Pierce congratulations on getting her master's degree. And then if you want to watch the link for the Southern California University of Medical Sciences, I think that's the name of the college, the link for the graduation ceremony is in the comment section also. But please leave a comment under for Rachel. She watches me talk. She's done it for 26 years, but she likes to watch my podcast also, so she will see it. So please leave her a comment and say congratulations. Okay, so if and like I said, if you're not used to watching the JP8 report, so what I do in the JP8 report is two facets. One is American history, because I've been doing what happens this day 250 years ago, which is our semi-quincentennial. So I do, and I don't broadcast on the weekend. So today will be December 14th, 1775, December 15th, 1775. So the first thing I got for the day is it's a satirical hoax written by, well, they say it was written by Abraham Lincoln, right? And it's called Bradshaw's Epitaph, right? And it was printed in the Pennsylvania Evening Post on December 14th, 1775. And then I'm going to show you what it is on a slide in just a second. I'm going to read the introduction first. The newspaper that printed this epitaph introduced it with a sentence explaining that the lines had been deciphered 3 years earlier on a cannoneer where the famous regicide's ashes were buried in Jamaica. Franklin has been widely accepted as author. The only evidence is a copy in Jefferson's hand, which came to light in 1828 and had since disappeared, but the transcript is extant. The copy was headed 1776 and contained the explanatory sentence from the text in the Evening Post and concluded that with the note by Jefferson that there was a reason to think the inscription was written by Dr. Franklin, in whose hands it was first seen. Whether this attribution was correct must remain an open question, even if the paper Jefferson saw it was in the doctor's hand rather than other hands. Franklin might have copied it and was certainly struck by it, for he made it the last line of the motto for his proposed Great Seal of the United States. Okay, so here's Bradshaw's epitaph. Stranger. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I can't use my stream deck. Okay. Stranger, ere thou pass, contemplate this cannon, nor regardless be told that near its base lies deposited the dust of John Bradshaw, who, nobly superior to all selfish regards, despising alike the pageantry of courtly splendor, the blasts of calumny, and the terrors of royal vengeance, presided in the illustrious hand of heroes and patriots, who fairly and openly adjudge Charles Stuart, tyrant of England, to a public exemplary death, thereby presenting to the amazed world and transmitting down, though applauding ages, the most glorious example of unshaken virtue, love of freedom, impartial justice, ever exhibited on the blood-stained theater of human action. O reader, pass not till thou have blessed his memory, and never, never forget that rebellion of tyrants is obedience to God. Okay, so that was from Ben Franklin, allegedly, but it sounded so good. Okay, so the next one is the 15th of December, 1775, and it was a letter written by General George Washington to Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Reed. Dear Sir, since my last, I have had the pleasure of receiving your favors of the 28th ulto and the 2nd instant. I must again express my gratitude for the attention shown Mrs. Washington at Philadelphia. It cannot but be pleasing, although it did in some measure impede the progress of her journey on the road. I am much obliged to you for the hints contained in both of the above letters respecting the jealousies which you say are gone abroad. I have studiously avoided in all letters intended for the public eye, I mean for that of the Congress, every expression that you could give pain or uneasiness, and I shall observe the same rule with respect to private letters. Further than appears absolutely necessary for the enunciation of facts, I cannot charge myself with incivility, or what is in my opinion is tantamount, ceremoniously civility to the gentlemen of this colony. But if such my conduct appears, I will endeavor at reformation, as I can assure you, my dear Reed, that I wish to walk in such a line as will give most general satisfaction. You knew that it was my wish at first to invite a certain number of gentlemen of this colony every day to dinner, but unintentionally, I believe by anybody, somehow or other missed of it, is this has given rise to jealousy. I can only say that I am sorry for it. At the same time, I add that it is rather owing inattention, or more properly, to much attention to other matters, which cause me to neglect it. The extract of letters from this camp, which is so frequently appear in the pensive papers, are not only written without my knowledge, but without my approbation, and I have always thought they must be a disagreeable tendency. But there is no restraining men's tongues or pens when charged with a little vanity, as in the accounts given, or rather by the rifleman. With respect to what you have said of yourself and situation, to what I have before said on this subject, I can only add that whilst you leave the door open to my expectation of your return, I shall not think of supplying your place. If ultimately you resolve against coming, I should be glad to know it as soon as you have determined upon it. The Congress have resolved well in respect to the pay of and advance to the men, but if they cannot get the money signers to dispatch their business, it is of very little avail, for we have not at this time money enough in camp to answer the commissary or quartermaster's accounts, much more to pay in advance to the troops. Strange conduct this. The account which you have given to the sentiments of people respecting my conduct is extremely flattering. Pray God I may continue to deserve them in the perplexed and intricate situation I stand in. Our enlistment goes slow. By the returns last Monday, only 5,917 men are engaged for the ensuing campaign, and yet we are told that we shall get the number wanted, as they are only playing off to see what advantages are to be made and whether a bounty cannot be extorted from the public at large or individuals in case of a draft. Time only can discover this. I doubt the measure exceedingly. Okay, I'll stop right there for a second. That sounds like soldiers today looking for that bonus before they re-enlist and try to time it out right. Man, it never fails. All right, the fortunate capture of the store ship has supplied us with flints and many other articles we stood in need of, but we still have our wants. We are securing our approach to Lichmore's Point, which is part of Boston, unable upon any principle whatever to account for their silence, unless it is to lull us into a fatal security to favor some attempt that they have in view about the time of the great change they expect will take place at the last of this month. That would be the end of the enlistments. If this is the drift, they deceive themselves, for if possible, it has increased my vigilance and induced me to fortify all the avenues to our camps, to guard against any approaches upon the ice. If the Virginians are wise, and that arch traitor of the right of humanity, Lord Dunmore, should be instantly crushed if it takes the force of the whole colony to do it. Otherwise, like a snowballing is rolling, his army will get size, though some through fear, some through promises, and some of inclination joining his standard. But that which renders the measure indispensably necessary is that the blacks, for he gets formidable, number of them will be tempted to join, who will be afraid to do it without. I'm exceedingly happy to okay, my tablet's doing strange things. But that which renders the measure indispensably necessary at the blacks, for if he gets formidable, number of them will be tempted to join, who will be afraid to do it without. I'm exceedingly happy to find that villain Conley is seized. I hope if there is anything to convict him, that he will meet with the punishment to his detriment and treachery. We impatiently wait for accounts from Arnold, who would to God we may hear he is in Quebec and that all Canada is in our possession. My best respects to Mrs. Reed. I am Doctor or dear Sir, your affectionate humble servant. And then it says P.S. The smallpox is in every part of Boston. The soldiers there have it, never had it. Who there have never had it? Are we under the okay, let me start that one over. The smallpox is here. The smallpox is in every part of Boston. The soldiers there who have never had it are told under inoculation and considered as a security against any attempt of ours. A third ship of people is come out of Point Shirley. If we escape the smallpox in this camp and the country around about, it will be miraculous. Every precaution that it can be is taken to guard against this evil, both by General Court and myself, George Washington. Now, you may not know, but they intercepted a plan from General Howe, which is British, to take British citizens from Boston that are inoculated, they're infected with smallpox, have them go through the lines and spread smallpox amongst the Continental Army. And George Washington found out about it. Okay, so I'm going to try something. Nope, doesn't work. Oh man, I can't believe this. Okay, so this is the Dalmatian Burger Group. They're homemade smash burgers and dogs here in Coppers Cove, Texas. All their ingredients are fresh and homemade. They're open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 2 and 5:30 to 7, unless they sell out, which they do a lot, especially on Saturdays. They're located on the west side of Coppers Cove, behind Bush's Chicken in the shopping center. And I always recommend Armadillo Burger because it's awesome. But if you live here in this area, you know today is Monday and they're closed till tomorrow. So you have to wait. All right? So back to, man, I can't believe I got to do this hand jam and stuff. All right. So today, before we get into the JP8 report, my just want to let y'all know that today is the 20th anniversary of one of my best friends dying in combat. And I'm going to take a few minutes to remember him because I only got to serve with him for about 6 months when I was at Fort Gordon, when I was in the Advanced Non-Commissioned Officers course when I made my Sergeant First Class. And we were all really good friends. There was a whole bunch of us. And I'll always remember that night of the morning of the 15th of December because he was in Afghanistan. And a buddy of mine, Sergeant First Class Jonathan Chance, called me early in the morning. It was about 2:30 in the morning Eastern time, and told me that Morton had died and what had happened, and that he needed help getting in contact with some people. And I was the only person he could remember that had that capability because I worked part of the White House military office, right? And so I did take care of him. I transferred him to the people that could help him, and then I went to his funeral a few days later at Arlington National Cemetery. The only time I've been to a ceremony in Arlington National. So that's Sergeant First Class John D. Morton from Stanton, Kentucky. He was only 31 years old. He was part of the 74th Long Range Surveillance Company, his infantry company. He was a 25 Whiskey, which is a telecommunications system supervisor. All right, he was a Sky Soldier, 173rd Airborne Combat Team in Vicenza, and he died on a dismounted patrol when they came under attack in small arms by Al Qaeda forces in Shawali Kot, Afghanistan. All right, he's an awesome guy to be around. So I'm going to read his obituary to give him that respect. Okay. Many people come in and out of one's life. It is those who touch you down inside that, with their sincerity, care, and friendship, they give an unforgettable impression forever. Sergeant First Class John Gunny Morton is one of these men and will never be forgotten by anyone who has served with or known. He was a scholar, a warrior, loving husband and father, and a hero. He left his mark and made his world a better place for those around him. Born 23 May 74 in Kentucky, Sergeant First Class Morton joined the Army in 1992 after graduating high school. His first step would lead him through the ranks of the Army for the next 13 years, reaching the rank of Sergeant First Class in December 2004. His service around the world in a variety of light, heavy, joint, overseas assignments brought him to Vicenza community in 2002 as part of the 74th Long Range Detachment, Long Range Surveillance. As a communications specialist for the 74th Infantry Detachment, Sergeant First Class Morton served as the basic radio station team leader and as the detachment's communications chief, responsible for all communications related to training, equipment, and personnel. He led his men and coordinated all communication operations through the brigade's deployment to Iraq, Afghanistan, and numerous rotations to the Grafenwehr and Hohenfels training centers. Sergeant Morton's greatest contribution was that of a father figure to many in the detachment. He was always the mature voice of reason and the unwavering optimist and moral compass led the unit. Whether engrossed in military history books, training his soldiers late into the night until they achieved his high standards, or mentoring some of the young fathers and husbands in the detachments with his experience, Sergeant First Class Morton was always making himself and the others around him the best they could be. His leadership style reflected these qualities, and his soldiers always pushed to be the best, never wanting to let him down. While in Afghanistan, Sergeant First Class Morton went above and beyond his duties as the Long Range Surveillance Detachment's communications chief. As one of their senior leaders in the detachment, Sergeant First Class Morton frequently took the responsibilities of the First Sergeant and Operations Sergeant, as well as led independent elements on combat patrols deep in enemy territory. On 15 December 2005, while conducting combat missions in the Mihanisheen district of southern Afghanistan, Sergeant First Class Morton was shot and killed instantly by an enemy sniper. He's survived by his wife, Sarah, and 3 kids, Joshua, Scarlett, and Olivia, and he touched the lives of those around him. And I was told by chance that he didn't even need to go on that patrol. He volunteered so they could have good comms, and then he died that day. So I know we lost some soldiers in Syria, which I'm going to cover in a little while, but also remember this NCO family and what happened to their family 20 years ago in Afghanistan, because some people like me will never forget it. All right? And sorry for breaking down like that. Okay. Let me get my... All right. So let's move on to the JP8 report. I didn't expect that. Hold on just a second. Okay. All right. So with JP8 report, we had the headline about the FBI foiling a terrorist attack that was going to happen about a week and a half from now, or 2 weeks from now. It says, federal authorities say they disrupted a credible terrorist threat over the weekend, arresting 4 individual members of a radical pro-Palestinian, here we go with the Islamic people again, extremist group accused of planning coordinated New Year's Eve bombings in Los Angeles, where my daughter is right now. The FBI told Fox News Digital that the members of the self-identified as part of a radical offshoot of the Turtle Island Liberation Front, an extremist group motivated by pro-Palestinian, anti-law enforcement, and anti-government ideology. According to the FBI, they were allegedly planning coordinated bombing attacks on New Year's Eve using improvised explosive devices targeting 5 separate locations across Los Angeles. The agency said the 4 were arrested in Lucerne Valley, where they were believed to be preparing to test explosive devices ahead of the planned attacks. They have been charged with conspiracy and possession of a destructive device. The FBI said Monday that a 5th individual believed to be connected in the same TLF group, extremist group, was arrested in New Orleans for allegedly planning a separate attack in New Orleans. Oh my goodness. A TLF Instagram account said its founding chapter is in Los Angeles, and the goal is to free Turtle Island, an indigenous name used to a reference to North America from an indigenous American empire. Oh man. They said free Palestine, free Hawaii, free Puerto Rico, the account posted. Freeing the world of American imperialism is the only way to save a beautiful future. It contributed. Okay. We can't let our guard down. Man. I think I got a paper cut. We can't let our guard down. The fact is these guys were building IEDs. I've seen the effects of IEDs. And I'm glad the FBI got a hold of them. Man. Is a attack. I mean, if you looked at the show notes and stuff, it just kept going, man. Okay, so the next one, and I'm sure there's gonna be more come out about this. Yeah, they were just talking about it on Fox just a second ago. Okay, so today the trial in Wisconsin is beginning for Judge Dugan. She is the state judge that snuck an illegal alien out the back of her courtroom to keep him from being deported by ICE, and she's been charged 6 times, I think it was, but hopefully, knock on wood, that she'll be convicted of this and set a precedent for other people attempting to do the same thing in around the United States. Next, Erika Kirk is meeting with the person with the initials CO, because I don't mention her name. At least I don't right now. And they're supposed to have a private meeting, no recording, no video, no podcast, nothing, this afternoon. All right. So we'll see what the outcome of that thing is. Next, this last weekend on Saturday, there was an attack in Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island, at Brown University. All right. If you haven't been watching the news today, earlier this morning, the guy that was the point of interest was released. All right. It says here from the New York Post, a 24-year-old man whom authorities apprehended in connection with the Brown University mass shooting was released from custody, and the real gunman is still at large, authorities announced during where am I at? I lost track because I looked away from my paper. A 24-year-old man who authorities apprehended in connection with Brown University mass shooting was released from custody, and the real gunman is still at large, authorities announced during a surprise press conference late Sunday after I went to bed. Benjamin Erickson was cuffed before dawn on Sunday at Hampton Inn near Brown, about 15 to 20 miles away. But the investigators are now saying they had the wrong guy. Rhode Island Attorney General Peter Nahoa explained it is difficult to develop evidence and track down leads in the immediate aftermath of the shooting Saturday, in which 2 students were killed and 9 were wounded. This is what these investigations look like. Sometimes you head in one direction, and sometimes you regroup and go in another. One of the leads that they developed that led them to Erickson, to whom authorities only referred as a person of interest, Nerhoa said that there was only some degree of evidence that led them to Erickson, but that their investigation now points to a different direction. I think it's fair to say there is no basis to consider him a point of interest, and that's why he's being released. We still have a lot of steps to take in these cases. So while they were interrogating this man, that's a veteran, that has the right to have weapons and ammunition, they were interrogating him, and the real gunman was getting far, far away. And they have no clue, so they say, who this guy is. So what they need to do is get the FBI in there and let the FBI do their job. I hope the FBI is doing their job right now. But I cannot believe in this modern age at an Ivy League school they don't have proximity key readers for all the doors and cameras all over the, Brown University has 268 buildings from what I heard, right? It's spread out throughout Providence. Why is it so that they feel so safe and secure in Providence, Rhode Island, that all these college buildings are spread over multiple blocks throughout Providence, that they didn't need see the fact that they needed any type of security cameras inside or outside of the college buildings? It would make perfectly honest sense to me to secure the buildings around you, right? And they didn't. And you can say, James, you're playing backseat quarterback. I don't care. The lives of those students and those teachers and the civilians around them are at risk because people do stupid things, right? We'll leave it at that one. Hopefully they'll find someone else. It's ridiculous, man. You know, hopefully they asked the people that were inside that college room where he went out shooting if they recognized his voice or they recognized him, because there was more than those 11 people in there. All right, next. Sydney terrorist attack. 15 dead, 47 wounded. All right, and they were by two Muslims, a father-son combo. One of them was killed. One of them was taken down by another Muslim, which was from Syria. He had been in the country like 24 years, and it was. If you saw the video, okay, if you saw the video, and you, it would him taking down that one. Took down the father, and he was just like he did like a flying wrestling move, right? I forgot what they call it, but he just left the ground, hands up, and tackled the guy and ripped the weapon from him, right? They said he killed, he saved the life of probably dozens of other people by what he did. So that was good. So I got 2 articles here I want to read on that, where we stand on 37 minutes. And don't forget to click the follow button. Don't forget to click that the like button, and please share, and to go to the comments section and tell my daughter Rachel Pierce congratulations for crossing the graduation stage today at the Southern California University of Medical Sciences. All right, and then if you want to watch it, I put the link to the YouTube page in the comments also. All right, so and I appreciate it if y'all do that. Okay, New York Post wrote an editorial about the treatment of Jews throughout the world, especially in Australia, and how people are taking advantage of that. This is an editorial written by the New York Post. In wake of Sunday's Bondi Beach terror attack on a gathering to celebrate the start of Hanukkah, Australia's leaders should be facing some of the very tough questions about their future in the fight of anti-Semitism. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese failed to heed multiple warnings about the rising tide of hate, including the human rights lawyer Arsen Ostrovsky, and he was wounded Sunday himself in that terrorist attack, who spoke out December 1st after graffiti reading F and K Zionist Israel said Israel has Israel, and another graffiti said Israel had blood on their hands, appear on the Bondi Beach overnight. That was on December 1st. And Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu wrote Albanese months ago, thundering that his call to recognize a Palestinian state pours fuel on the anti-Semitic fire and emboldens those who menace Australian Jews and encourages the Jew hatred now stalking your streets. That hate has been growing ever since Hamas October 7th atrocities, October 7th, 2022. Just 2 days after those terror attacks, well before Israel counterattack began, a mob of roughly 1,000 rallied at the Sydney Opera House in support of Hamas. The street was rife with anti-Semitism, reportedly even with a chant of gas the Jews when Speaker denounced Israel as a colonist state and will only be overcome with greater violence. And various Aussies have been delivering such violence ever since. Last December, we saw an arson attack on an Orthodox mosque in Melbourne. January brought a Sydney synagogue defaced with swastikas and 3 fire bombings in a single week. That same month, the police found a trailer packed with explosives and a list of Jewish targets in just northwest of Sydney. And some anti-Semitic graffiti has grown common, as well as attacks on Jewish-owned shops. A group of nurses made global headlines for cutting a video where they announced they wouldn't treat Jews. Why? In the year heading up to September 30th, the Executive Council Australian jury counted 2,062 anti-Semitic incidents across the country. But somehow, the Aussie elite think Jews are the problem. Early this year, feminist activists, see that's the problem, feminist activist Clementi Ford doxed some 600 members of the Jewish WhatsApp group, forcing many to move in the wake of death threats and vandalism against their homes and workplaces. In August, a few months ago, Albanese blamed Iran for the Melbourne synagogue bombing and an attack on a Sydney kosher restaurant and expelled Tehran's ambassador and 3 other diplomats. But Albanese the next month chose to pander to his domestic Jew haters, joining a pack of left-wing leaders of Western governments in announcing a recognition of a Palestinian state, a stance that, as Netanyahu warned, encouraged Jew hatred now stalking your streets. Australia's Jewish community of about 120,000 certainly doesn't think Albany's government has done enough to protect them. Arsen Ostrovsky had moved back to the precise to raise alarms about the rising threat. Indeed, authorities believe the shooters are father-son, and one of them apparently on a security service watch list. Yet that didn't prevent the duo from legally attaining a stash of firearms, despite Australia's strict gun laws. Of course, Australia is far from alone. Syria's deadly mass shooting at Brown University targeted a classroom as a Judic studies professor. So maybe there's some type of correlation between the two. The only bright spot in all this was the shopkeeper Ahmed, who disarmed one of the Bondi killers before being wounded by the other, a heroic feat that allowed police to swoop in and take down the shooters. That happens a lot, okay? I'll put it like this, especially in our country. White Christian males. How often we hear the Democrats say that? White Christian males. And then they allow people to fly the Palestinian flag against the Jewish people that live here, even though they're American, the vast majority of them. And it's the Jews' fault. It's always white Christian males' fault. When are we going to hold the other people accountable for the actions they take? Right? We're doing it here in Texas. They're doing it in Florida also. That they're actually holding CARE and the Muslim Brotherhood in check for what they're doing to our states. But, you got to look around the rest of the country about what they're doing, and they're not, right? We're always against the Muslims. It's not vice versa, that they're against the Jews and against Christians. We're not protected. We're not. Here's some breaking news. Let's see what's going on. Verdict reached in Brian Walsh murder case. Okay. All right. And then another aspect of what happened in Australia, there was a rabbi, his name is Eli Schrolanger, who he just became a dad. He was among the 15 that were killed in Australia, and he was a very popular rabbi who had recently welcomed a new son just 2 months ago, and he was one of the first victims. Let's see, Rabbi Ershlang, 41, had been one of the 2,000 in attendance at an event in Bondi Beach, marking the first night of Hanukkah, when 2 terrorists opened fire. And he's famous for going somewhere. I forgot. I really don't know who he is, but let me see what he's famous for. He wrote a letter to the Prime Minister just 2 weeks ago, begging him to support Israel and not to recognize the Palestinian state. All right. They had 6 weapons. They were in Australia, first day of Hanukkah. Okay. Next. I know I'm running out of time, people. Hold on. All right. Next. Syria. Over the weekend, there was a Syrian. There was an attack in Syria by a lone gunman. It was a blue on green, which means a member of the country's security forces attacked U.S. military forces, in which one guy affiliated with ISIS attacked and killed 2 American National Guardsmen that were on duty from Iowa, and their interpreter was killed also, and I believe 3 other service members were wounded before the assailant was shot and killed. All right. I have a slide here from the president from Truth Social. Okay, so president said on Truth, we mourn the loss of 3 great American patriots in Syria, 2 soldiers and 1 civilian. Likewise, we pray for the 3 injured soldiers. It has been just confirmed as doing well. This was an ISIS attack against the U.S., and Syria is a very dangerous part of Syria, and in a very dangerous part of Syria that is not fully controlled by them. The president of Syria, Ahmed al-Shara, is extremely angry and disturbed by this attack. There will be very serious retaliation. Thank you for your attention to this matter, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. And then Sean Parnell said today in Palmyra, which is a very historic Roman city that was built in the middle of Syria, 2 United States Army soldiers and 1 civilian U.S. interpreter was killed and 3 were wounded. And Sekwar replied, the savage who perpetrated this attack was killed by partner forces. Let it be known, if you target Americans anywhere in the world, you will spend the rest of your brief, anxious life knowing that the United States will hunt you, find you, and ruthlessly kill you. I don't need to say any more about that at all, because I fully agree with both POTUS and Secretary Hexas. All right? Keep their families in your prayers, right? Please. And then I read just a little while ago that Syria had already arrested 5 perpetrators that were accused of helping that one killer that killed the American soldiers. All right? If you want to read that, that's on Newsmax. It's called Syria Arrests 5 Suspects Over Shooting of U.S. Syrian troops in Palmyra. All right. Okay, so next on my list is Indiana Governor Mike Braun said Thursday he would help President Trump primary Republican state lawmakers who voted against a redistricting measure by their leader. I'm very disappointed that a small group of misguided state senators have partnered with Democrats. Where have we heard that before? Oh, yeah, here in Texas. To reject this opportunity to protect Hoosiers with fair maps and to reject the leadership of President Trump. Ultimately, decisions like this carry political consequences, Mike Braun wrote in a post on the social platform X. I will be working with President to challenge these people who do not represent the best interests of Hoosiers. The new map failed by a vote of 19 to 31 in the Indiana Senate. Okay, and if you're wondering, Brian Walshy was guilty of murder and dismembering his wife Anna. So if y'all are tracking that, we'll be launching primary challenges against every last traitor who voted no, effective immediately. Pack your bags. Your time is up. Trump advisor Alex Bushowitz wrote on X responding to the vote. Republican lawmakers in Hoosier State who oppose this effort have defended their decision to buck Trump. Make no mistake, I, like many of those who will join me in voting no today, are constitutional, fiscal, and religious conservatives. What that means to me is that I believe in conserving the values, the culture, and institutions that created American exceptionalism. Indiana State Senator Spencer Derry, who voted against the map. Why would you do that, guy? You're going against your principles. You are. So Mike Braun is going to help President Trump in primarying all 21 of these guys that turncoated and rebelled against the Republican establishment, the new Republican establishment, the MAGA people, not the America First people, the MAGA people. All right, the ones that actually follow President Trump is who you should be following. Just something funny. John Kennedy, Senator Kennedy from Louisiana, mocked Jasmine Crockett and her Senate run that she just started. Said her voices in her head are not real. Jasmine Crockett announced her Senate campaign this month, and Senator John Kennedy had sharp words about the prospect of her joining the chamber. He dismissed Crockett's Senate bid as unserious and out of step with Texas voters. They need to tell her that the voices in her head are not real. Kennedy said on Sunday on My View with Laura Trump. Crockett launched her campaign earlier this month, which was just last week, with direct attacks on Donald Trump, whom she has long criticized. She announced the bid on a video on X showing her standing as Trump's past insults played in the background. Crockett's interest, I bet they photoed her with no noise around her and then added the noise later. Crockett's entrance into the race has highlighted the political divide in Texas and drawn swift pushback from Republicans. Kennedy said her platform will not resonate with voters of the Lone Star State. Let's see what I can say about it. Kennedy said, I don't want anybody in Congress that doesn't want to be here. Kennedy, however, said that he does not believe Crockett's campaign will go far. He called her the wrong on every single issue and predicted she will lose her bid and be leaving Congress. If people are unhappy, don't let the door hit them in the butt on the way out. I know there's one more line in there I wanted to read. The people of Texas will never embrace her message. There was something else I read. It was really cool. I don't know why she's doing this, but hey, you have the right in America to do dumb things if you want to. I was telling Ann a while ago before she left for her doctor's appointment, you know what Senator Kennedy needs to do? He needs to take a book and put every metaphor he's ever said in Congress, maybe it might be 2 or 3 volumes, and put them in a book, because he will get absolutely rich by doing that. Absolutely rich. My next thing I want to show you is a tweet by the guy I'm supporting for U.S. Senate in the primary right now. But remember, after the primary is over, whoever wins the Republican primary, I'm voting for. But I'm going for Aaron Reitz right now, okay? Or Reitz. He wrote on Facebook, at a recent forum, we were asked about our roles in trying to destroy Ken Paxton. All right? Here's my answer. Never forget. Chip was the trumpet, Mays the money, and Joan the establishment conspirator aimed at toppling Paxton. Me, Semper Fidelis, always faithful. All right? That explains them right then and there. Next. Do I want to talk about this? I'm at 57 minutes. I may have to. All of that. I could try to get around to it some other time. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to show you was, let me see. Okay, so I went to a social. My wife and I went to a social Saturday at the Phantom Brewery Company in Killeen. It's a veteran-owned microbrewery owned by Nick Valentine, and he's a veteran also. And we had a social with the West Side Conservative Coalition, in which they had Republican primary seekers speaking there. So that was really cool. So this is some of the people were there. I only have so much space. And then I saw an 82nd Airborne flag. I was attached to the 2nd Brigade, 82nd Airborne, 325th, when I was in Iraq. And that was cool. I wanted to show you all that. And then right here is one of the 5 guys I recognize like a Memorial Day, PFC Corey Hicks. He served at Fort Hood, was deployed to Iraq, and he was killed on the day that I was in combat patrol with him. He was like 100 yards, maybe 75 yards in front of me, and he got killed by an IED, 2 IEDs, right? But I always recognize his name, so people remember that. Corey Lee Hicks, PFC, all right? And then the next is, if my slides will advance. There we go. Okay, so we have Dennis Faulkner. He's the chair of the West Side Conservative Coalition. We have William Abel, Congressional District 31. We have Ted Duffield, I think his name is. He's running for county judge in Bell County. This is Mr. Evans. He's running for re-election in Bell County for treasurer. Over here you have Pat Patterson. Matter of fact, they're related, Duffield and Patterson. I think this is his son-in-law. He's running for JP4, I believe. And this is Joey Agee. He's running against Pat Patterson for JP seat. And then we have district clerk. We have Lacey Mattingdale, and we have Pam Blair, right? And they're all running in the Republican primary, and we got to hear them for a while. It was really good. And then get back out to my main screen. Also, Saturday, earlier that day, I was at the Cordell County, what does he call it? The Cordell County Republican Party ballot draw for the primary. I recorded it. I have 8 minutes of video. It's on my, if you go to my Facebook, you go to Coppers Cove Conservative Club, and if you want to watch it, it's in there. It's posted on Saturday. The problem is I could not figure out how to get it onto my computer where I could put it part of the podcast. So you have to go to Coppers Cove Conservative Club on Facebook, right? And you'll be able to see it. In 8 minutes, it shows how you do a ballot draw for placement on the ballot. So in Texas, you can use 2 decks of cards, you use poker chips, you can use dice and envelopes, right? And we chose to use 2 decks of cards. It was really cool. All right. So before I let everybody go, because we're out of time, please go to the comment section and tell Rachel, congratulations on crossing the stage for her master's degree. If you want to watch it, the YouTube is on the comments page already, right? And also please click the follow button. Please click the like button. And please share it if you can. So I will see y'all tomorrow. I should be back at noon unless I make a decision to try it again at 10. I don't know. Depends on how my numbers end up in just a few minutes when I look at the official numbers. I may go back to 12. I don't know. We'll see. All right. So if you want to find me on socials, you can find me at James Pierce Jr. on X, Facebook, James A. Pierce Jr., YouTube, the JP8 Report 67. In truth, you can find me at James A. Pierce, and there's my email address. All right. So, and don't forget, I do broadcast live from Rumble through to Facebook and X and YouTube. Please like those, subscribe, but I always broadcast to Rumble because that's my home. All right. So I will see everyone tomorrow. This is James Pierce with the JPA Report. I'm out. I'll catch you on the flip side.